So growing up in a small village and a small valley in South Tyrol, a region in Italy, taught me a lot about the mentality, of small communities, which benefits they have and maybe some side effects of them. So South Tyrol is a region in northern Italy where we mostly speak German, a German dialect, and I think that says a lot about our mentality and all that stuff, because in Italy they of course speak Italian, and on the border to Austria of course they speak more German, so we are a little bit split. So in South Tyrol there are more and more Italians. You see that more surnames have Italian words, if you can say that, or more Italian people are coming over to South Tyrol, and it gets a little bit more mixed. So I think in general that's good, but I think also in the past there were a lot of cases where the South Tyroleans fought the Italians, because if you know the history, I don't want to get into detail, but South Tyrol was a part of Austria and Germany back, I think, before the First World War, and after the First World War South Tyrol became part of Italy, and they did not feel like Italians. So I think we still don't really feel like Italians because we have a different kind of lifestyle and mindset, and of course the language barrier. But now we are more used to that, and I think we understand each other with the Italians pretty good. But I've realized some things that's pretty common in South Tyrol, especially in the valleys, is the small or the closed-mindedness. And I think closed-mindedness is something, probably the worst mentality you can have, especially as a young man or a young woman, because you depend so much on society, what society thinks, what the people around you think, and I think that's also the number one factor if you're going to successful or not, is your surroundings or the people you're surrounded with. And if they all think or have a closed mindset, like for example I want to be, let's take me, I want to be a YouTuber, but because it's not common to do that, or not common to be a YouTuber here, it's really annoying to explain that to people, what we are exactly doing as a YouTuber, how we make money, and also to let people understand why we're recording outside, for example. I realized that a lot of people aren't open to that, they don't want to get recorded, and I realize in cities it's much easier. It's not unusual to see someone walking in the streets vlogging and stuff like that, but if I'm doing that in my village, I think everyone will look like that. What is he doing? What does he think he is? Especially the people that know me. But something I also have to say, a lot is in my mind, so that's also, I've realized something, that most of the things are in your mind, so people normally don't give I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. Because if you go walk by, for example, 10 seconds they think about you, but then they go on with their day because they have a lot of other problems, and they don't benefit from thinking too much of you. Sure, there are always people that probably won't like you, but it's even good if they think all the time of you, because then you probably have a quality that they don't have or they don't want to get, but somehow you inspire them, but they don't want to say that. So therefore I think haters aren't as bad. But back to the topic with closed-mindedness, I've realized that oftentimes, because I've also thought there are plenty of good footballers, for example from Austria, of course from Italy too, but from South Tyrol there was never a footballer, for example, who made it. And I realized that if someone in the clubs that are around us, if someone plays well, also as a child, always if they say, I want to be a footballer, the normal mindset of the most people here is, search a job, a normal job, football doesn't pay a lot, especially in the smaller clubs, and if you want to go to a bigger club you probably can't make it because it's so hard. And I think that's the usual mindset that you find in South Tyrol, and I think that's pretty sad, because you take chances of young people who really have a dream, who are willing to put in the work. But if you always say that to them, it's the probability that they say, maybe I should think of something else, is pretty high. And I've realized that always. I was doing also work and travel in Australia, and I know many people from the United States, for example, and always when they were there, or when I was in Australia, I quickly realized how much more open the people were and how much more they inspired you to go on. I remember, for example, in Dubai, I was recording outside and another guy was coming by and he said, you're a YouTuber, and I said, no, it's only a small one with a few hundred subscribers, I think, at that time. And he said, yeah, go on, because you never know, if you put in the work over years, who knows how big you could get, and stuff like that. And here in South Tyrol, if I do that, I don't know, I think I always have the feeling most people don't really get it, or they say, yeah, whatever, let him do, but yeah, I don't think they really believe that, for example, I could do it, or I don't want to always talk about me. I think, for example, the footballer, I think it's the same case. You really need to work a lot on yourself to have that self-belief. And it's always easier if you have that external community, those external people that push you on. Because those are the people that in times where you don't believe in yourself, they say don't quit now because you've already put in so much work and you always wanted to do that, why quit now? And I think if you have those people, they inspire you to move on, and oftentimes you need that reason because at the end of the day you're doing it for a community or for others, and if others don't acknowledge your work, then you question yourself, because it isn't always easy. For example, at recording, you make yourself vulnerable by doing that, especially like me, if I tell stories about myself. And sometimes, I walk outside, and especially in new situations, I often think, what do they think about me? I still have that mindset. I realize that I try to overcome it step by step, but I oftentimes realize in my subconsciousness, especially if I go to a new place where I want to make a video, I often have that mindset, and I always question, what do they think of my videos, or they probably think I'm a joke. I don't want to blame people if they think that, but I realized I need to overcome that within myself, because like I said before, oftentimes it's not so harsh that people really think that. Maybe they think it, but they probably won't say it. But if you always think that of yourself, then you're stopping yourself. But the good thing is, I believe if you start something, you will always attract some people that are supporting you. They don't have to believe in yourself, but if they support you and they want you to grow, then I think that's good enough. So I think that's really something you should be grateful for if you have those people. I luckily found those people. I'm often surprised how many people are willing to help me without any favor in return, and that's awesome. I myself want to grow that more, that I really say to someone I can help him without expecting anything. That's amazing that those people exist. Like I said in that video, I don't want to blame the mindset, for example, of my region. I just want to make sure that people are aware of that they don't stop themselves because they think that, because like I said, oftentimes it's only in your head and it's not as bad as you think it is. Sure, it is harder to start something new in a community where no one else is doing it, but you have to realize, for example, even in United States or in cities, with the YouTube example, they once were the first and they had to overcome the same things. And I think you can't take it as an excuse to say others have that community. There are also a lot of YouTubers they can collaborate with, and here you have no one. I think you can't take that as an excuse. Sure, it is harder, but it's still possible. Others have done it too. So yeah, I think that's what the message of that video is. Just because you think other people won't like you if you do it, or you believe they think this and this about you, don't stop yourself by that. Especially, like I said, because it's mostly in there. Oftentimes, if you risk something, if you try something, you will be surprised that oftentimes you're wrong. And I think it's pretty important to try to make yourself wrong as often as possible. As hard as it is, but I think that's the best way to grow. To realize that, sometimes you're not your thoughts, and the thoughts you have you don't have to take so seriously. So make sure of that. I hope you can take anything from that video. I just wanted to talk about that one day because I think it's interesting also for the people in my community that they try something new and maybe they adopt the same mindset I'm struggling with. And yeah, maybe a little bit a reminder to myself that I can do it and that I am not my thoughts. So see you in the next one. Goodbye. Vielen Dank.